Listen to me carefully. You are not a victim of circumstances. You never were. You never will be. I know that sounds harsh to you right now. I know it contradicts everything you've been taught. Everything the world has whispered in your ear since childhood. Everything that the disappointed, the defeated, the disillusioned have told you about life. They told you that life happens to you. That you must simply endure. That you must wait for better days. That luck favors some and abandons others. That certain people are born blessed while others are condemned to struggle. They lied to you. Not out of malice, perhaps. But out of ignorance. Out of their own powerlessness. Out of their own failure to discover the truth that I am about to reveal to you. Here is what they never told you: there is something within you right now, at this very moment, that possesses creative power beyond anything you can imagine. A power that has been shaping your life since your first conscious thought. A power that is working right now, whether you acknowledge it or not. Whether you believe it or not. Whether you use it deliberately or let it run wild like an unattended garden. This power is not outside of you. It is not in the stars. It is not in your circumstances. It is not in your past. It is not waiting for permission from the world. It is in you. And it has been creating your reality every single day of your life. Most people live their entire existence without ever discovering this truth. They walk through life as if they were passengers on a ship they do not control. As if they were leaves blown by winds they cannot predict. As if they were actors in a play written by someone else. But you are not most people. You would not be here, reading these words, if you were content to remain asleep. Something in you knows there is more. Something in you refuses to accept powerlessness as your permanent condition. That something is the divinity within you, calling you to awaken. From this moment forward, you have a choice. You can close your mind to what I am about to tell you, return to the comfortable illusion that you are merely responding to life, and continue getting exactly what you have always gotten. Or you can open yourself to a truth so powerful, so fundamental, that it will shatter every excuse you have ever made and place the full weight of responsibility, and the full scope of possibility, exactly where it belongs. In your hands. Before we go further, I want you to do something. If this message is reaching you, if something in these words is resonating with a truth you have always suspected but never fully grasped, then subscribe to this channel right now. Comment below and tell me where you are watching from. Because what I am about to share with you is not theory. It is not philosophy for its own sake. It is practical truth that will change your life if you apply it. And I want to know that you are serious. That you are ready. That you are willing to take responsibility for what comes next. Now, let us begin. There is a law at work in your life. A law as dependable as gravity. As precise as mathematics. As inevitable as the sunrise. This law does not care about your feelings. It does not care about your past. It does not care about your excuses or your explanations. It simply operates. Constantly. Perfectly. Without exception. Here is the law: your inner world creates your outer world. Read that again. Let it sink into the deepest part of your consciousness. Your inner world creates your outer world. What you hold in your mind, your beliefs, your thoughts, your dominant mental attitudes, these are not passive observations of reality. They are the creative forces that shape reality. They are the blueprints from which your life is constructed. They are the seeds from which your circumstances grow. You are not living in a random universe. You are living in a responsive universe. A universe that reflects back to you, with absolute precision, the nature of your inner mental state. Let me be clear about what I mean by divinity within you. I am not speaking of religion, though you may frame this truth in religious terms if that serves you. I am not speaking of supernatural intervention, though the results of this principle often seem miraculous to those who have not understood it. I am speaking of the creative capacity of your mind. The forming power of your thoughts. The shaping influence of your beliefs. The magnetic quality of your dominant emotional states. This is your divine attribute. The godlike quality that distinguishes you from every other creature on earth. The ability to hold an image in your mind and, through the consistent application of thought, feeling, and action, to bring that image into physical manifestation. Think about what this means. A dog cannot imagine a different life and then create it. A tree cannot conceive of new conditions and then bring them about. But you can. You possess the capacity to envision something that does not yet exist and to call it forth into existence through the sustained use of your mental and physical faculties. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is observable fact. Every human-made object around you, every building, every device, every system, existed first as thought before it existed as thing. Someone imagined it. Someone held that image in mind. Someone believed in its possibility before there was any evidence for it. And through sustained focus and action, that invisible thought became visible reality. The same process that creates buildings and machines creates your life circumstances. The same law that governs the manifestation of external inventions governs the manifestation of your personal reality. Your current life is the physical equivalent of your past thinking. Your future life will be the physical equivalent of your present thinking. This is the big truth. The central principle. The law you must understand before anything else can make sense. Now, I know what is happening in your mind right now. Resistance. Objection. The voice of your conditioned thinking is protesting. But what about things that happened to me that I did not choose? What about the circumstances I was born into? What about the events outside my control? Listen carefully. I did not say you consciously chose every detail of your current circumstances. I said your inner world creates your outer world. These are not the same statement. Much of your inner world was programmed before you were old enough to think critically. Your beliefs were shaped by parents, teachers, culture, experience, often without your conscious awareness or consent. These unconscious beliefs have been operating beneath your awareness, creating results you did not deliberately choose but which perfectly correspond to your programmed expectations. You inherited beliefs about money, relationships, success, worthiness, possibility. These beliefs settled into your subconscious mind. They became the lens through which you interpret reality. They became the filter that determines what you notice, what you pursue, what you avoid. And most importantly, they became the creative force that attracts, repels, and shapes your circumstances. So when I tell you that you create your reality, I am not blaming you for unconscious creation. I am empowering you to begin creating consciously. The past may not have been your fault. But the future is your responsibility. Here is what you must understand about this divine creative power within you: it never stops working. Not for one moment. Not for one day. You cannot turn it off. You can only direct it or allow it to operate randomly according to whatever thoughts happen to drift through your mind. Every thought you think is a seed. Every belief you hold is a pattern. Every emotion you sustain is a magnetic force drawing corresponding circumstances into your life. You are creating right now. In this moment. With the thoughts you are thinking, the beliefs you are reinforcing, the emotional state you are dwelling in. The question is not whether you are creating. The question is, what are you creating? And are you doing it deliberately or by default? Most people create by default. They think whatever thoughts arise. They react to circumstances with habitual emotional patterns. They reinforce limiting beliefs through repetitive internal dialogue. And then they wonder why their circumstances never change. Their outer world is simply reflecting their inner world with perfect accuracy. But because they are not aware of what is happening in their inner world, because they have never examined their beliefs or taken control of their thoughts, they blame external conditions for their struggles. This is the great tragedy of human existence. Not poverty. Not illness. Not failure. The great tragedy is that millions of people possess unlimited creative power and never discover it. They live and die believing they were powerless, when in truth they were the primary creative force in their own lives all along. You have this power. Right now. You have always had it. The question is whether you will claim it. To claim this power, you must first accept a truth that most people resist with every fiber of their being: you are responsible for your reality. Not your parents. Not your circumstances. Not the economy. Not the government. Not bad luck. Not the universe conspiring against you. You. Your thoughts. Your beliefs. Your focus. Your dominant mental attitude. Your internal dialogue. Your emotional habits. Your decisions. Your actions. This responsibility is not a burden. It is liberation. Because if you created the life you have through unconscious patterns, you can create a different life through conscious patterns. If your inner world created your current outer world, then changing your inner world will inevitably change your outer world. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. Immutable. Dependable. Testable. Change your consistent thoughts, and your circumstances must change. This is cause and effect. This is how the universe operates. This is the divinity in you expressing itself. Now, before you can use this power deliberately, you must understand how it works. Not vaguely. Not in theory. But with practical, specific understanding. The divinity within you, this creative power, works through several channels simultaneously. First, it works through perception. Your beliefs determine what you notice in your environment. If you believe opportunities are scarce, you will literally not see opportunities that are right in front of you. If you believe people are generally hostile, you will interpret neutral behaviors as threatening. Your beliefs act as a filter, highlighting certain aspects of reality while rendering others invisible to you. Second, it works through decision. Your beliefs shape your choices. If you believe you are not worthy of success, you will make choices that ensure you do not succeed, sabotaging yourself at critical moments, avoiding necessary risks, or simply not trying. These choices appear conscious, but they are driven by unconscious beliefs about what is possible or appropriate for you. Third, it works through action. Your dominant thoughts generate emotional states, and emotional states generate actions. If you consistently think thoughts of lack and fear, you will feel anxious and defensive, and you will act from that place, creating behaviors that push opportunity away. If you consistently think thoughts of abundance and confidence, you will feel expansive and bold, and you will act from that place, creating behaviors that attract opportunity. Fourth, it works through attraction. This is the most mysterious aspect, but no less real. Your consistent mental and emotional state broadcasts a signal that draws corresponding circumstances, people, and events into your life. Like attracts like. Not because the universe is magical, but because your inner state determines what you notice, how you interpret events, what actions you take, and how other people respond to the energy you project. All four channels work together, simultaneously, to create your experienced reality. You cannot separate your thoughts from your circumstances. They are intimately connected. Inseparably connected. Causally connected. This is why you cannot create lasting change in your outer world without changing your inner world. You can manipulate circumstances temporarily. You can force results through willpower. But unless your inner beliefs align with the reality you want, the old patterns will reassert themselves. The outer world will snap back to reflect the unchanged inner world. How many times have you seen this pattern? Someone loses weight, then gains it back. Someone earns money, then loses it. Someone improves a relationship, then falls back into old conflicts. Why? Because the outer change was not supported by inner transformation. The belief system remained the same, so the circumstances eventually conform to the beliefs. The divinity in you will always create reality that matches your beliefs. Always. Without exception. This is why belief change is the foundation of all lasting transformation. This is why working on your mind is not optional if you want to change your life. This is why personal development is not a luxury or a hobby, it is the very mechanism through which you exercise your creative power. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. And most people do not acknowledge the beliefs running their lives. They are not aware of the constant stream of thoughts passing through their minds. They do not notice the patterns of interpretation that shape their perception. They do not recognize the emotional habits that determine their actions. They are asleep at the wheel of their own creative power. And so they create unconsciously, reactively, by default, and then they blame the road for where they end up. You must wake up. You must become conscious of your inner world. You must observe your thoughts, examine your beliefs, and recognize the patterns that have been running your life. This is not comfortable work. It requires brutal honesty. It requires facing the ways you have been sabotaging yourself. It requires admitting that many of your struggles are self-created. But this discomfort is the price of freedom. This honesty is the doorway to power. Once you become conscious of your creative mechanism, you can begin to use it deliberately. You can choose your thoughts instead of being dragged by them. You can install new beliefs instead of living by outdated programming. You can create your reality instead of merely reacting to it. This is what it means to awaken the divinity within you. To recognize that you are not a helpless creature buffeted by forces beyond your control. You are a creative being equipped with the power to shape your own experience. To determine your own path. To call forth the life you desire through the sustained application of focused thought, aligned emotion, and decisive action. The universe is waiting for your command. But it does not respond to your words. It does not respond to your wishes. It responds only to your beliefs. To your dominant mental attitude. To the energy you consistently hold and project. Show me your beliefs, and I will show you your future. Change your beliefs, and you change your future. This is law. This is truth. This is the key to everything. Now let me show you where you have been going wrong. Because you have been going wrong. If your life is not what you want it to be, the problem is not outside of you. The problem is in your use of the creative power within you. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they misuse their mental faculties. They direct their creative power toward outcomes they do not want through unconscious patterns of thought and belief. Let me be specific. You sabotage yourself every time you hold a vision of what you want while simultaneously harboring a belief that you cannot have it. You are sending contradictory signals. You are trying to build with one hand while tearing down with the other. And the universe responds not to your conscious wishes but to your dominant beliefs. So if your belief in impossibility is stronger than your desire for achievement, impossibility is what you will create. This is the first great error, divided mind. You say you want success while believing success is for other people. You say you want wealth while believing money is hard to get. You say you want love while believing you are unworthy of deep connection. You are at war with yourself, and as long as this internal conflict continues, you will remain stuck. The divinity within you cannot create clarity from confusion. It cannot manifest abundance from a consciousness of lack. It works with the materials you give it. If you give it doubt, it creates doubt-confirming circumstances. If you give it faith, it creates faith-confirming circumstances. It does not judge. It does not override your will. It simply creates according to your dominant inner state. So when your life is not working, the first question you must ask is not, why is the world doing this to me? The first question is, what am I believing that is creating this result? This requires radical honesty. Most people are not honest with themselves about their actual beliefs. They confuse their wishes with their beliefs. They confuse their conscious thoughts with their subconscious programming. You do not believe what you say you believe. You believe what your actions demonstrate. You believe what your results confirm. If you say you believe in your potential but you consistently avoid challenges, you do not actually believe in your potential. If you say you believe in abundance but you obsess over scarcity, you do not actually believe in abundance. Your true beliefs are revealed by your behavioral patterns and your emotional reactions. And until you face these patterns honestly, you cannot change them. Here is another way you sabotage yourself: you focus on what you do not want instead of what you do want. Your mind does not distinguish between positive and negative focus. It only registers the subject of your attention. When you think about your debt, you are focusing on debt. When you worry about failure, you are focusing on failure. When you complain about what is wrong, you are focusing on wrongness. And remember the law: your inner world creates your outer world. Where your attention goes, energy flows. What you focus on expands. If you spend your mental energy dwelling on problems, you strengthen problems. You become an expert in problem consciousness. You train your perception to find more problems. You generate emotions that align with problems: stress, fear, frustration. And these emotions drive behaviors that create more problems. This is not punishment from the universe. This is simply how the creative mechanism works. You are instructing your subconscious mind, through your focus, to bring you more of what you are concentrating on. And it obeys. Perfectly. Every time. Most people are in the habit of negative focus. They wake up thinking about what could go wrong. They consume news designed to trigger fear. They engage in conversations about what is unfair or broken or threatening. They rehearse past hurts. They imagine future disasters. And then they wonder why their lives feel heavy, why opportunities seem scarce, why they feel perpetually anxious. They are using their divine creative power to manufacture misery. Not because they are foolish, but because they are unaware. No one taught them how their minds work. No one showed them that focus is directive power. You must break this pattern. You must train yourself to focus on what you want to create, not what you want to avoid. This is not denial. This is not ignoring problems. This is strategic use of your mental faculties. When you face a problem, solve it. Take action. Make decisions. But do not dwell on it. Do not make it your mental home. Do not let it become the dominant channel through which your creative power flows. Here is another error: you wait for circumstances to change before you change your inner state. You say, "I will feel confident when I achieve success." But confidence is what creates success, not the other way around. You say, "I will feel abundant when I have money." But abundance consciousness is what attracts money, not the result of having it. You have the sequence backwards. You are waiting for the outer world to change so you can change your inner world, when the law clearly states that the inner world must change first. This is perhaps the most common trap. People condition their emotional state on external circumstances. I will be happy when I get the job. When I meet the right person. When I reach the goal. But happiness is not the result of conditions. Peace is not the result of conditions. Confidence is not the result of conditions. These are states of being that you can choose right now, regardless of circumstances. And when you choose these states consistently, they become the creative force that shapes new circumstances. You must stop waiting. You must stop making your inner state dependent on outer conditions. You must generate the feelings, the beliefs, the mental attitudes of the person who already has what you want. Not as pretense. Not as fantasy. But as practice. As training. As the deliberate use of your creative imagination. The divinity within you responds to the signals you send now, not the signals you promise to send later. If you wait until conditions are perfect to feel empowered, you will never feel empowered, because conditions will never be perfect. There will always be something wrong, something lacking, something to worry about. But if you choose empowerment now, regardless of circumstances, you activate the creative mechanism that will change those circumstances. This is the great secret that self-made men and women throughout history have discovered. You do not need permission from circumstances to claim your power. You claim your power first, and circumstances adjust accordingly. Another pattern I see constantly: you do not guard your mind. You let anyone and anything plant seeds in your consciousness. You consume media that programs you with fear and limitation. You surround yourself with people who reinforce your doubts. You replay negative experiences until they become the dominant narrative of your life. Your mind is the garden in which your reality grows. If you allow weeds, negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, toxic influences, to take root and flourish, do not be surprised when your life bears bitter fruit. You must become fiercely protective of your inner world. You must curate your inputs. You must choose carefully what you allow into your consciousness and what you refuse entry. This is not about living in a bubble. This is about recognizing that you are in a constant process of creation, and what you expose yourself to becomes part of the creative material. Garbage in, garbage out. Excellence in, excellence out. Most people are careless with their minds. They would never leave their homes unlocked and unguarded, yet they leave their minds wide open to every negative influence, every destructive idea, every limiting narrative that happens to cross their path. Then they wonder why they feel disempowered. Why they struggle to believe in themselves. Why their thoughts are chaotic and their emotions unstable. You cannot build a magnificent life with a polluted mind. You cannot create excellence from consciousness that has been saturated with mediocrity and fear. You must take control. You must decide what thoughts you will entertain and what thoughts you will dismiss. You must choose what beliefs you will nurture and what beliefs you will uproot. You must be intentional about what you read, what you watch, who you spend time with, what conversations you engage in. This is not restriction. This is stewardship. You are the guardian of your own creative power, and you cannot afford to be careless with it. Here is another uncomfortable truth: you are attached to your suffering. I know that sounds harsh. But look closely at your patterns. How often do you complain? How often do you tell the story of what went wrong? How often do you bond with others over shared grievances? There is a hidden payoff in victimhood. It excuses you from responsibility. It earns you sympathy. It gives you an identity. It provides a reason for why you have not achieved what you say you want. And as long as there is a payoff in staying where you are, you will not move. Your conscious mind may want change, but your subconscious mind is loyal to the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. This is why some people sabotage themselves just when success is within reach. This is why others cannot stop attracting the same dysfunctional relationships. This is why still others find ways to lose every opportunity they are given. They are unconsciously committed to a narrative that requires them to struggle. And the divinity within them faithfully creates circumstances that match that narrative. You must be willing to release your suffering. You must be willing to let go of the stories that keep you small. You must be willing to forfeit the payoffs of victimhood in exchange for the responsibility of power. This is not easy. It is easier to blame than to build. It is easier to complain than to create. It is easier to hide behind circumstances than to stand in your power and declare that your life is your responsibility. But ease is not what you need. Power is what you need. Freedom is what you need. And both require that you stop clinging to the comfortable illusion that you are helpless. You are not helpless. You have never been helpless. You are the primary creative force in your own life. And the moment you stop denying this, the moment you stop hiding from this, the moment you fully accept this, that is the moment everything begins to change. One more pattern, and this may be the most destructive of all: you give up too soon. You try a new way of thinking for a few days, see no immediate results, and conclude it does not work. You set a goal, encounter the first obstacle, and abandon the pursuit. You start to build a new belief, feel the discomfort of unfamiliarity, and retreat to your old patterns. The creative process takes time. Thoughts must be repeated consistently before they become beliefs. Beliefs must be reinforced persistently before they reshape your subconscious programming. New actions must be practiced repeatedly before they become habits. You are not working with a light switch. You are working with a garden. Seeds need time to germinate. Roots need time to establish. Growth happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible above ground. But you live in a culture of instant gratification. You have been conditioned to expect immediate results. And when those results do not appear instantly, you lose faith. You decide the principle does not work. You return to your old ways, and then you wonder why nothing ever changes. The divinity within you is not subject to your impatience. It operates according to natural law, not your preferred timeline. It will absolutely create what you consistently focus on, believe in, and act toward. But it will do so in its own time, according to processes you do not fully see or understand. Your job is not to control the timeline. Your job is to maintain the vision. To hold the belief. To continue the actions. To stay faithful to the process even when you cannot yet see the results. This is where most people fail. Not in the understanding. Not in the beginning. But in the staying. In the continuing. In the persisting through the invisible stage when nothing seems to be happening but everything actually is. If you quit before the harvest, you forfeit everything you have planted. And then you blame the soil, when the only problem was your unwillingness to wait for the crop to mature. Now let me show you the way forward. Everything I have said so far has been preparation. Removing the obstacles. Clearing the confusion. Confronting the patterns that keep you trapped. But confrontation alone is not enough. You must know what to replace the old patterns with. You must understand the new mindset that will activate the divinity within you and allow it to create the reality you desire. This new mindset begins with a single shift, from effect to cause. Right now, most people live as effects. They see themselves as the result of circumstances, genetics, history, luck, other people's choices. They are waiting for something outside themselves to change before their lives can improve. You must make the shift to cause. You must see yourself as the originating force. The initiating power. The creator of your experience. This does not mean you control everything. You do not control the weather. You do not control other people. You do not control every external event. But you absolutely control your response to these things. You absolutely control your interpretation of these events. You absolutely control the meaning you assign, the beliefs you form, the actions you take. And in exercising this control, you become cause rather than effect. You become the active force rather than the passive recipient. You become the author of your life rather than a character in someone else's story. This shift is not philosophical. It is practical. It changes everything. When you see yourself as effect, you ask, what is happening to me? Who is to blame? Why is life unfair? These questions disempower you. They orient you toward victimhood. They keep you trapped in reactive mode. When you see yourself as cause, you ask, what am I creating? What can I control? How can I respond powerfully? What needs to change in my thinking or behavior? These questions empower you. They orient you toward agency. They activate your creative capacity. From this day forward, you must train yourself to think as cause, not effect. Every time you catch yourself blaming circumstances, stop. Redirect. Ask yourself what you can control. Every time you feel victimized, pause. Reframe. Ask yourself how you are contributing to the situation. Every time you wait for someone else to change, recognize the trap. Take your power back. Ask yourself what you can do differently. This is the foundation. You cannot activate your divinity if you see yourself as powerless. You cannot create deliberately if you believe you are at the mercy of forces outside yourself. Cause, not effect. This is where everything begins. From this foundation, the new mindset has several key elements. First, total responsibility. You must accept that you are responsible for your life. Not 50%. Not 90%. 100%. This does not mean you caused every event. It means you are responsible for how you respond to every event. For the meaning you make of it. For what you do next. When you accept total responsibility, blame becomes irrelevant. Excuses become impossible. Complaining becomes pointless. All of your energy redirects toward the only thing that matters, what you think, believe, and do from this moment forward. This is liberation. As long as you blame external factors, you give away your power. You make your well-being dependent on things you cannot control. But when you accept total responsibility, you reclaim your power. You make your well-being dependent on things you can control, your thoughts, your focus, your beliefs, your actions. Total responsibility is not a burden. It is the key to freedom. Second, intentional focus. You must become disciplined about where you place your attention. Your focus must be deliberate, strategic, and aligned with what you want to create. This means you focus on solutions, not problems. On possibilities, not limitations. On what you are building, not what you are leaving behind. On gratitude for what is working, not resentment for what is not. This requires vigilance. Your mind has been conditioned toward negative focus. The pattern will not change automatically. You must catch yourself when you drift toward worry, complaint, or catastrophizing. You must consciously redirect your attention toward constructive thoughts. This is not positive thinking as mere optimism. This is strategic use of your mental faculties. You focus on what you want because focus directs creative energy. Where your mind dwells consistently, your reality follows eventually. Make a decision right now. You will no longer allow your mind to wander aimlessly through negative territory. You will guard your focus as fiercely as you would guard your most valuable possession. Because your focus is your most valuable possession. It is the directing force of your creative power. Third, belief installation. You must identify the beliefs that will support the reality you want, and you must install those beliefs through deliberate practice. This is not affirmations alone. This is not shallow repetition of words you do not believe. This is the systematic replacement of limiting beliefs with empowering ones through multiple methods: repetition, visualization, emotional engagement, action that reinforces the new belief, evidence collection, identity shift. You want financial success. You must install beliefs about abundance, worthiness, capability. You want fulfilling relationships? You must install beliefs about your lovability, trustworthiness, connection. You want health and vitality? You must install beliefs about your body's capacity, your discipline, your worthiness of well-being. Every goal requires a supporting belief structure. If you try to achieve a goal while holding beliefs that contradict it, you will fail. The beliefs always win. Always. So you must do the inner work. You must examine your current beliefs honestly. You must identify which ones are serving you and which ones are sabotaging you. And you must systematically replace the limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This takes time. This takes repetition. This takes persistence. But it is not optional if you want lasting change. You cannot shortcut belief change. You must do the work. Fourth, emotional mastery. You must learn to generate the emotional states that correspond to the reality you want to create, regardless of current circumstances. If you want confidence, you must practice feeling confident now. Not when you achieve the goal, but now. If you want peace, you must practice feeling peaceful now. If you want empowerment, you must practice feeling empowered now. These emotions are not rewards for achievement. They are the causes of achievement. They are the creative states that shape your perception, drive your actions, and broadcast the signal that attracts corresponding circumstances. You generate these emotions through thought, through focus, through visualization, through gratitude, through deliberately choosing your internal state instead of letting it be dictated by external conditions. This is advanced work. Most people have never attempted emotional mastery. They let their emotions run wild, triggered by every passing circumstance. They are happy when things go well and miserable when things go poorly. They are completely at the mercy of external events. You must rise above this. You must claim dominion over your inner state. You must learn to feel what you choose to feel, when you choose to feel it, for as long as you choose to sustain it. This is not suppression. This is not pretending. This is conscious use of your emotional capacity to create the inner environment that will produce the outer results you desire. Fifth, identity shift. You must begin to see yourself as the person who already has what you want. Not in fantasy, but in genuine self-concept. Your identity determines your behavior. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you will behave in ways that ensure continued financial struggle. If you see yourself as someone who is unattractive, you will behave in ways that push connection away. But if you shift your identity, if you begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, powerful, successful, your behavior automatically aligns with that identity. You make different choices. You take different actions. You show up differently in the world. This identity shift happens through practice. You ask yourself, how would the person I want to become think about this situation? How would they respond? What would they do? And then you think that way. Respond that way. Do that thing. At first, it feels like pretending. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like you are being inauthentic. But you are not pretending to be something false. You are practicing becoming something true. You are trying on the identity that matches your desires until it becomes natural. Until it becomes who you actually are. Every action you take either reinforces your old identity or builds your new one. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose actions that declare, this is who I am becoming. Sixth, long-term vision. You must develop the capacity to hold a vision of your desired reality over time, regardless of temporary setbacks or slow progress. Most people give up because they judge their methods based on immediate results. They try something for a week, see no dramatic change, and conclude it does not work. But the divinity within you is not responding to what you did for a week. It is responding to your consistent, dominant patterns of thought, belief, and action over months and years. You must think in terms of seasons, not days. You must plant in spring and wait for fall harvest. You must understand that invisible progress precedes visible results. You must develop faith in the process even when you cannot yet see the outcome. This long-term vision keeps you steady. It protects you from the discouragement of temporary circumstances. It allows you to persist through the inevitable challenges that arise between where you are and where you want to be. Create a clear vision of what you want. Write it down. Visualize it daily. Let it become so real in your mind that it pulls you forward. Let it be the compass that guides your decisions and the anchor that holds you steady when storms come. Seventh, decisive action. Mindset alone is not enough. Belief alone is not enough. You must act. You must move. You must do the things that correspond to the reality you are creating. The divinity within you expresses itself through you, not separate from you. Your mind sets direction, but your body executes. Your thoughts plant seeds, but your actions water them. Your beliefs create possibility, but your decisions create reality. You must act in alignment with your vision. Every day. Even when you do not feel like it. Especially when you do not feel like it. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence strengthens belief. Stronger belief creates better action. This is the upward spiral of creation. But you must initiate it. You must take the first step. You must do the uncomfortable thing. You must risk failure, rejection, uncertainty. Because on the other side of that risk is the life you want. The universe rewards action. Not perfect action. Not fearless action. Just consistent action aligned with clear intention. Stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop analyzing. Start moving. The path reveals itself to those who walk it, not to those who sit and theorize about it. This is the new mindset. This is how you activate the divinity within you. This is how you shift from unconscious creation to deliberate manifestation. Cause, not effect. Total responsibility. Intentional focus. Belief installation. Emotional mastery. Identity shift. Long-term vision. Decisive action. These are not optional. These are not suggestions. These are the mental and behavioral patterns that successful people have used throughout history to create extraordinary lives from ordinary beginnings. And what was available to them is available to you. The same laws govern your life. The same creative power dwells within you. The only difference is whether you will use it consciously or let it operate by default. Now I will give you specific practices. Daily habits. Concrete actions you can implement immediately to activate your creative power and begin reshaping your reality. These are not theory. These are not interesting ideas to consider. These are disciplines that will change your life if you commit to them consistently. And they will do nothing if you merely understand them intellectually but fail to practice them. Knowledge without application is worthless. Understanding without execution is sterile. You must do the work. Daily. Without exception. Until these practices become as natural as breathing. Practice 1. Morning mind programming. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people waste this critical time reacting to circumstances, checking messages, consuming news, allowing their mental state to be determined by external inputs. You will no longer do this. From today forward, you will own your first hour. You will use it to program your mind with the thoughts, beliefs, and emotional states that align with the reality you want to create. Here is exactly what you will do. Wake up and immediately, before checking any device, before engaging with any external stimulus, spend time in conscious thought about your vision. What are you building? What kind of person are you becoming? What does your ideal reality look like? Do not think about problems. Do not review your to-do list. Do not worry about the day ahead. Use this time exclusively for vision reinforcement. Speak your vision out loud if possible. Say, I am becoming, describe your ideal identity. I am creating, describe your desired reality. I am grateful for, list specific things as if they already exist. Feel the emotions of already having what you want. Let gratitude, confidence, excitement, peace, whatever emotions correspond to your vision, fill your body. Stay in this state for at least 15 minutes. Longer if possible. Then, read something that reinforces empowering beliefs. Not news. Not entertainment. Something that feeds your mind with principles of success, possibility, power. 10 to 20 pages. Every single day. This morning practice reprograms your subconscious mind. It sets your focus. It generates the emotional state from which you will operate all day. It is the single most important discipline for activating your creative power. You will encounter resistance. Your mind will offer 1,000 excuses, too busy, too tired, can do it later. Ignore these thoughts. They are the voice of your old programming trying to maintain control. Do this practice every single day for 90 days without exception. After 90 days, it will be habit. After 6 months, it will be who you are. After a year, you will not recognize your old self. Practice 2, focus redirection. Throughout the day, you will notice your mind drifting toward negative thoughts, worries, complaints, problem rehearsal. This is normal. This is the old pattern reasserting itself. Your job is not to prevent these thoughts from arising. Your job is to notice them quickly and redirect immediately. The moment you catch yourself in negative focus, stop. Literally stop what you are doing for a moment. Take a breath. Say to yourself, that is not where I direct my creative power. Then consciously redirect your attention to something aligned with your vision. A solution to the problem. A positive aspect of the situation. A reminder of what you are building. Gratitude for something working in your life. This is not denial. If there is a problem requiring action, solve it. But do not dwell on it mentally beyond what is necessary for solution. Do not allow it to become your mental dwelling place. In the beginning, you will need to redirect yourself dozens of times per day. Your focus will constantly drift toward the negative. This is evidence of your conditioned patterns, not personal failure. But each redirection strengthens the new pattern. Each time you catch yourself and consciously refocus, you are training your mind. You are taking control of your creative mechanism. Over time, weeks, not days, you will notice that negative focus loses its grip. Your default patterns will shift. Your mind will naturally orient toward constructive thought because you have trained it to do so. This practice is exhausting at first. It requires constant vigilance. But it is absolutely essential. Your focus determines your creation. If you cannot control your focus, you cannot control your reality. Commit to this. Make focus redirection your moment-by-moment practice until it becomes automatic. Practice 3, evidence collection. Your mind is conditioned to notice evidence that confirms your existing beliefs. If you believe life is hard, you will notice everything that confirms this. If you believe opportunities are scarce, you will see scarcity everywhere. You must reverse this pattern by deliberately collecting evidence for your new, empowering beliefs. Each day, identify at least 3 pieces of evidence that support the belief you are installing. If you are building a belief in abundance, notice 3 instances where you received value, where resources appeared, where needs were met. If you are building a belief in capability, notice 3 instances where you solved a problem, learned something, or demonstrated competence. Write these down. Speak them out loud. Review your evidence regularly. This practice retrains your perception. It teaches your mind to filter reality differently. It builds genuine belief because you are anchoring your new beliefs in actual experience, not just repetition of empty affirmations. Most people do the opposite. They collect evidence for what is wrong, what is lacking, what is not working. They rehearse their failures. They recount their disappointments. They build a case for why things are hard and success is unlikely. You will do the opposite. You will deliberately, systematically collect evidence for what is working, what is possible, what is improving. You will build a case for your own capability and the responsiveness of reality to your focused intention. This is not delusional. There is always evidence for multiple interpretations of reality. You are simply choosing to focus on evidence that empowers you rather than evidence that diminishes you. Do this every day. Make it non-negotiable. Your belief system will shift as your evidence accumulates. Practice 4, identity behavior. Remember, your identity determines your behavior, and your behavior reinforces your identity. To shift your identity, you must consistently behave as the person you are becoming. Each day, identify one specific behavior that the future version of yourself, the person who already has what you want, would naturally do. Then do that thing. Regardless of how you feel. Regardless of whether it feels natural yet. If the person you are becoming is disciplined, do something that requires discipline. If they are confident, do something that confident people do. If they are generous, act with generosity. If they are focused, eliminate a distraction. The behavior does not need to be large. It needs to be intentional. It needs to be a conscious declaration through action: this is who I am becoming. Each identity-aligned behavior is a vote for your new self. Each vote strengthens the identity. Enough votes, and the identity becomes real. Not pretend. Not aspirational. Actual. But you must act before you feel ready. You must do the behavior even while the old identity protests. Because that is exactly how identity shifts. Not by waiting until you feel different, but by acting differently until the feeling follows. Make this a daily practice. One identity behavior. Every single day. Non-negotiable. Over time, these behaviors compound. They accumulate. They build the person you are becoming. And one day, not immediately, but inevitably, you will realize you are no longer trying to become that person. You are that person. Practice 5. Boundary enforcement. You must protect your mind from toxic inputs and limiting influences. This requires establishing and enforcing boundaries. Limit news consumption. Most news is designed to trigger fear and outrage. It programs your mind with danger and scarcity. You do not need to be ignorant of important events, but you do not need a constant stream of negativity flowing into your consciousness. Limit exposure to negative people. Some people are committed to complaining, blaming, and maintaining victim consciousness. You cannot help them by joining them in their misery. And you cannot build an empowered life while constantly absorbing their disempowered perspective. This does not mean you abandon people. It means you set boundaries. You limit your exposure. You refuse to engage in toxic patterns of conversation. You protect your mental environment as fiercely as you would protect your physical health. When someone begins complaining, redirect the conversation or remove yourself. When media triggers fear or outrage, turn it off. When an activity leaves you feeling drained or negative, eliminate or minimize it. Replace toxic inputs with empowering ones. Consume content that educates, inspires, challenges you to grow. Spend time with people who are building something, who believe in possibility, who take responsibility for their lives. Your environment, both physical and social, influences your inner state. You cannot maintain empowering beliefs while immersed in disempowering influences. You cannot think like a creator while surrounded by victims. Set boundaries. Enforce them. This is not selfishness. This is self-preservation. This is recognition that your mind is the garden where your future grows, and you must be ruthless about what you allow to take root there. Practice 6. Visualization and feeling. Your subconscious mind responds powerfully to vivid mental imagery combined with emotion. This is why visualization is such an effective tool for programming your creative mechanism. Each day, ideally in the morning and before sleep, spend 10 to 15 minutes in detailed visualization of your desired reality. See yourself living as the person you are becoming. See the circumstances you are creating. See yourself handling challenges with confidence. See yourself experiencing the success, the relationships, the lifestyle you desire. Make it specific. Do not visualize vague generalities. See details. See colors. See faces. See settings. Hear sounds. Feel textures. Make it as real as possible in your mind. And critically, feel the emotions. Feel what it would feel like to be that person, to live that life, to have those circumstances. Let joy, gratitude, peace, excitement, pride, whatever emotions correspond to your vision, fill your entire being. The combination of vivid imagery and genuine emotion creates a powerful impression on your subconscious. It programs your beliefs. It aligns your actions. It broadcasts the signal that begins attracting corresponding circumstances. Do not underestimate this practice because it seems simple or just mental. Everything that exists physically existed mentally first. You are training your mind to accept your vision as real. And when your subconscious accepts it as real, it will orchestrate thoughts, decisions, and actions that make it real in physical form. This is not fantasy. This is not escape. This is deliberate use of your imagination as the creative tool it was designed to be. 10 to 15 minutes. Every day. With full attention and genuine emotion. Non-negotiable. Practice 7. Progress review and course correction. Once per week, review your progress with honest assessment. Ask yourself, what identity-aligned behaviors did I demonstrate this week? What negative patterns did I successfully redirect? What evidence did I collect for my new beliefs? What actions did I take toward my vision? Where did I allow old patterns to control me? What needs to change next week? Write your answers. Be honest. Do not judge yourself harshly, but do not make excuses either. You are simply gathering data about which practices are working and which need adjustment. Then, based on this review, make specific commitments for the coming week. Not vague intentions. Specific behaviors. Specific focus areas. Specific boundaries to enforce. This weekly review keeps you conscious. It prevents you from drifting back into unconscious patterns. It ensures that you are consistently applying the principles rather than merely understanding them intellectually. Most people never review their progress. They start with enthusiasm, drift into inconsistency, forget their commitments, and wonder why nothing changes. The weekly review prevents this drift. It maintains accountability, not to someone else, but to yourself and to the vision you have declared. Make this review non-negotiable. Same day. Same time. Every week. This is how you maintain momentum over the long term that is required for genuine transformation. These 7 practices are sufficient. You do not need more techniques. You do not need more information. You need consistent application of these fundamental disciplines. Each practice addresses a specific aspect of your creative mechanism. Together, they reprogram your mind, redirect your focus, rebuild your beliefs, shift your identity, and align your actions with your vision. But they only work if you work them. Understanding these practices accomplishes nothing. Agreeing with these practices accomplishes nothing. Only consistent, daily application will produce results. Make a decision right now, you will implement all 7 practices starting tomorrow. Not someday. Not when conditions are right. Tomorrow. You will do them imperfectly at first. You will struggle. You will be inconsistent. But you will persist. You will continue. You will stay committed to the process even when you cannot yet see the results. This is how the divinity within you gets activated. Not through wishes. Not through understanding. Through practice. Through discipline. Through the daily choice to think, feel, and act in alignment with the reality you are creating. Now you know. You know the truth about the creative power within you. You know how it works. You know where you have been going wrong. You know what mindset you must adopt. You know what practices you must implement. Now you must decide. Will you continue as you have been? Will you return to unconscious patterns, to reactive living, to blaming circumstances for your results? Will you let this information remain merely interesting ideas that you once heard but never applied? Or will you claim your power? Will you accept responsibility for your reality? Will you begin the daily work of reprogramming your mind, redirecting your focus, and reshaping your life through deliberate use of the divinity within you? This is not a small decision. This is the decision that determines everything else. This is the fork in the road where one path leads to the same destination you have always reached, and the other leads to possibilities you have only imagined. You cannot walk both paths. You must choose. Understand this: the divinity within you is already creating your reality. Right now. This moment. Whether you acknowledge it or not. Whether you use it consciously or let it operate by default. The creative process is not optional. It is not something you turn on or off. It is constant. Continuous. Inevitable. The only question is whether you will direct it or drift with it. If you drift, you will continue to create by default. Your unconscious beliefs will continue to shape your circumstances. Your habitual thoughts will continue to generate your emotional states. Your automatic reactions will continue to produce your results. And 5 years from now, you will be exactly where you are today, wondering why nothing ever changes. But if you direct your creative power consciously, if you implement the practices I have given you, if you adopt the mindset I have described, if you commit to the daily work of mental discipline and aligned action, your life will transform. Not instantly. Not magically. But inevitably. Progressively. Undeniably. Because the law is immutable. Change your inner world, and your outer world must change. This is not hope. This is not belief. This is cause and effect. This is how the universe operates. You have been given the key. Will you use it? Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. You are not meant to live a small life. You are not designed for mediocrity. You are not intended to be a passive recipient of whatever circumstances happen to occur. You are a creative being. You possess divine attributes. You have within you the same power that has built every great achievement in human history. The power to imagine what does not yet exist and to bring it into existence through focused thought, sustained belief, and persistent action. This power is not reserved for a special few. It is not the privilege of the lucky or the gifted. It is the birthright of every human being. It is your birthright. But most people never claim it. They live and die without ever discovering what they were capable of. Without ever attempting to consciously direct their creative power. Without ever taking full responsibility for their reality. You now have knowledge that most people do not possess. You now understand principles that most people will never encounter. You now have practices that, if applied consistently, will change everything. This knowledge creates responsibility. You can no longer claim ignorance. You can no longer pretend you do not know how creation works. You can no longer hide behind the excuse that you are a victim of circumstances. You know better now. And knowing better requires doing better. From this moment forward, your life is determined by one factor: consistency of application. Not intensity of desire. Not depth of understanding. Not nobility of intention. Consistency of application. Will you do the morning practice tomorrow? And the day after? And the day after that? Will you redirect your focus when it drifts toward negativity? Will you collect evidence for empowering beliefs? Will you take identity-aligned action? Will you protect your mental environment? Will you visualize with emotion? Will you review your progress weekly? Will you do these things when you feel like it? That is easy. That is meaningless. Will you do these things when you do not feel like it? When you are tired? When you are discouraged? When results seem slow? When obstacles appear? When doubt creeps in? That is the question. That is what separates those who transform their lives from those who merely wish for transformation. Your feelings are irrelevant to the process. Your motivation will fluctuate. Your confidence will waver. These are normal human experiences, and they have nothing to do with whether you show up and do the work. You do the work because you have decided. Because you are committed. Because you recognize that your future depends not on how you feel but on what you do consistently, regardless of how you feel. This is discipline. This is self-mastery. This is the price of transformation. And it is a price worth paying. Because on the other side of this consistency is a life beyond what you currently imagine. A life where you operate from power rather than fear. Where you create deliberately rather than react constantly. Where circumstances respond to your focus instead of dictating your emotional state. Where you know, with absolute certainty, that you are the primary creative force in your own existence. This is freedom. This is power. This is what it means to live with the divinity within you fully activated and consciously directed. And it is available to you. Right now. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when you feel ready. Now. But you must reach out and take it. You must claim it. You must do the work. No one else can do it for you. No circumstance will deliver it to you. No amount of wishing will manifest it. Only you. Your decision. Your commitment. Your daily practice. Your refusal to quit when the process gets difficult. The universe is waiting for your signal. Not your words. Not your hopes. Your consistent, aligned, disciplined focus and action. When you send that signal, day after day, week after week, month after month, the universe must respond. Not because it likes you. Not because you deserve it. But because that is the law. That is how creation works. Your inner world creates your outer world. Change the inner world through deliberate practice, and the outer world changes through inevitable consequence. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your responsibility. You can choose consciousness over unconsciousness. Cause over effect. Power over victimhood. Creation over reaction. Responsibility over blame. You can choose to activate the divinity within you and use it to create a reality aligned with your highest vision of what your life can be. Or you can choose to remain as you are. And that is a choice too. A choice with consequences. A choice that determines everything. I have given you everything you need. The understanding. The mindset. The practices. Now the only variable is you. Your decision. Your commitment. Your consistency. Make the decision now. Not later. Not after you think about it more. Not when you feel more ready. Now. Commit to 90 days of consistent practice. 90 days of morning programming. 90 days of focus redirection. 90 days of identity-aligned action. 90 days of protecting your mental environment. 90 days of visualization. 90 days of evidence collection. 90 days of weekly review. 90 days of taking full responsibility for your reality and deliberately directing the creative power within you. If you do this, if you truly commit and follow through, your life will not be the same at the end of those 90 days. Your beliefs will have shifted. Your identity will have evolved. Your actions will have changed. And your circumstances will be changing in response. This is not a promise that everything will be perfect. This is not a guarantee that all your goals will be achieved in 90 days. Transformation takes time. Results unfold according to natural processes. But I promise you this, if you do the work consistently, you will be different. And when you are different, everything is different. You will think differently. You will perceive differently. You will respond differently. You will act differently. And all of these differences will compound into a reality that reflects your conscious intention rather than your unconscious programming. This is the opportunity before you. This is the path I am showing you. This is what becomes possible when you stop waiting for life to change and you start being the change. The divinity in you creates your reality. Always has. Always will. The only question is whether you will use it consciously or unconsciously. Deliberately or by default. Powerfully or passively. You now have the knowledge and the tools to use it consciously. To direct it deliberately. To wield it powerfully. What you do with this knowledge, that is between you and your future self. The person you will become because of the decision you make today. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose power. Your reality is waiting to be created. And you are the only one who can create it. Now go. Begin. The work is waiting for you. And remember, you are cause, not effect. You are creator, not creation. You are the divinity expressing itself in human form, equipped with the power to shape reality through thought, belief, and action. Use that power. Claim that power. Become that power. This is your destiny. But only if you choose it. Only if you work for it. Only if you refuse to settle for anything less than the full expression of what you are capable of becoming. The choice is yours. Make it now. And then live it. Every single day. Your future is not a gift. It is a creation. And you are the creator. Now create.